Welcome, everyone. We are live here at ESHRE 2024 in Amsterdam, and I am here to talk about Embryo Options and how to take your cryo billing and management through to the next level. So what is Embryo Options? So if anybody is interested about what exactly is it? Well, it's a digital cryopreservation billing and management platform that enables you to reduce your workload and improve all of the aspects for your patient care to improve their engagement. And we've been around for quite some time, and we're very happy to bring it to you here and talk specifically about some of our value that we can bring to you, as well as helping you with compliance. Too fast. Here we go. So we have four main avenues that we can help out you and your patients. The first is with automated billing. So that's really taking you to the next level, helping you communicate with your patients in an automated way. We do that through our inventory management tool, in which we speak with your EMR and we work with you digitally in order to support an entire patient engagement platform, which is where we're at next, to speak to your patients from your voice, how you want to talk with them, and then finally give you a full detailed analysis of what your patients are doing within the platform, what they're doing when they're making their payments, what they're looking for their storage options. But we know, as we are bringing Embryo Options to many more places and to more countries, there's a need for compliance. Are you communicating with your patients in a way that matches what they need in your country or in your state or where you're at specifically? And we're very happy here today to talk with Stacy because we're going to talk specifically about the HFEA. And the HFEA about 2 years ago changed their requirements for storage to allow us to store up to 55 years and then put in a layer of notices that needed to go out. And we felt that Embryo Options was a great place to be able to come in and look at this and figure out how do we automate and improve it so that it makes your life easier for the renewal period. And Stacey's going to tell us how do we actually now use this digital platform inside of our laboratory.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everybody. So my job today is to just give you an idea as to how Embryo Options looks and feels when it's installed in your clinic. Embryo Options connects to your EMR. So let's say you're in the lab, you're doing your embryo freezes. You're going to input those freeze events into your EMR. The following night, those freeze events will be inputted into Embryo Options. The following morning, somebody from your clinic can log into Embryo Options and they can review those freeze events. At that time, they'll be able to link a consent period to the freeze event. So here we have patient Janet Doe. We know from the EMR that she had embryos frozen on April the 16th, 2024. We've told Embryo Options that she's consented to a 10-year period. So the consent end date is April the 15th, 2034. If we click on Janet's summary tab, we get this drop down. Now this is a timeline. It's very similar to the timeline that John shared with you earlier. You can see the consent start date and the consent end date. You can see the dates the statutory notices are scheduled to go out. So in the case of embryos, we've got the RNE, NDE, and the NWC notification. When these dates arise, Embryo Options will auto-populate the statutory notices and automatically send them to the patient. If those notices are delivered, this will be indicated to you by a green tick in the timeline. If Embryo Options is unable to deliver those notices, this will also be indicated to you by a yellow exclamation mark. This timeline continues until the embryos are no longer in storage in accordance with your EMR, or until the 55-year mandatory end of storage date is reached. Now, Embryo Options contains an activity page for all patients. This logs who has done what and when to create a full audit trail for peace of mind. So here we can see staff member W. Baker inputted a consent period, and this is date and time stamped. You can add manual entries, so if you call the patient or you write to them or send an email, everything can be logged here. This page can be exported as a PDF or printed for your medical records. All communication from Embryo Options can be tailored to your liking. So in the email section, you can add your clinic's name and logo. You can even change the language of the emails to make sure it's in your own language and that it communicates anything you would like to say to the patients via this channel. The homepage of Embryo Option creates a dashboard for every user. And depending on your role within the clinic will depend on what part of the dashboard you're interested in. So let's say you work in the finance department. You might be interested in the billing tab. Under the billing table, you may wish to look at which patients have outstanding balances, for example. Or perhaps you're the CFO or the owner of a clinic. You might be more interested in the financial summary. You may wish to look at how the collection rate has hopefully improved since the installation of Embryo Options. But today we're focusing on compliance support, so the tab we're interested in is the HFEA Hub. Here you can see a rough overview of where your patients are in the timeline. So you may wish to look at patients with upcoming statutory notices. As an example, you may want to call them weekly in accordance with your SOPs. Or you may wish to review which patients have freezes eligible for disposal in accordance with the Embryo Options compliance support timeline. You can review this list and you can then process them in accordance with your own practices and policies. Now today we've given you just a small taste of what Embryo Options can do. There are many more elements to Embryo Options that can support cryo management in your clinic. We're moving cryo management into the digital age. We have a platform here that can support compliance, ease your workload, and connect you closer to your patients. Thank you for listening.